Antonio starts right now.
Good morning. It is Monday. It is July 19th.
Thanks for joining us this morning. And I knew we weren't a huge hipster town, but now we have the proof.
We do. There's a new poll out. But before we get to that, what is a hipster? You may have heard the term coined or thrown around quite a bit. The Urban Dictionary defines it as people that try too hard to be different and genuinely do think they're being different by rejecting anything they deem to be too popular.
Yeah, and the article says, hey, just look for vintage apparel, vinyl records, banjos, and beards, and for them.
So Lawn Starter ranked 2021's best cities for hipsters by comparing 150 biggest U.S. cities based on 23 anti-mainstream factors, from access to thrift stores, farmers markets, and record stores to urban gardening and biking friendliness. So
at the top of the list, they have San Francisco, #1 best city for hipsters.
And for good reason. The city is known as Baghdad by the Bay because of its rich cultural diversity. Appropriately snags #2 in culture and the top spot in lifestyle. It also boasts the highest number of uniquely San Francisco quirks, what they call local flavor amenities.
Yeah, and then moving on to Texas. Texas actually not so high on the list. People here, we think hipsters maybe Austin, but Austin ranked number 64. On the list.
They said, matter of fact, they said 5 of our bottom 10 cities hail from Texas, including Fort Worth, Corpus Christi, El Paso, Laredo, and Amarillo, finishing dead last out of 150 cities. And we did find San Antonio on the list.
Yeah, 133, so pretty low. Actually, not too far from Fort Worth at 142. So yeah.
Now that says here, Austin, once popular among hipsters, but now a yuppie and tech hotbed, is tops among Texas cities, as we said, at number 64.
Yeah, but it says it could make a comeback. Austin, maybe.
It could.
Could. We'll see. Let's look at today's 9 at 9.
The search for suspects continues after gunshots put a stop to the Nationals versus Padres baseball game Saturday night. 4 people were hurt as thousands of fans scrambled to safety. Officials say the shooting was an isolated incident between people in 2 cars.
The San Antonio Zoo has partnered with Metro Health to give out free COVID vaccines. If you get the shot at the zoo, you also get free tickets to Dragon Forest. The vaccination event starts today and goes until Thursday.
A total of 5 Texas Democrats have tested positive for COVID-19 after leaving for Washington during the special session last week. All 5 lawmakers are fully vaccinated.
As new cases surge in the U.S., President Biden is fighting misinformation about COVID-19 and the vaccine. Biden blames social media for allowing the spread of what he calls false information. Health officials say a majority of the new cases are among the unvaccinated population.
The United Kingdom has officially ended its COVID-19 restrictions. Mask mandates are over and businesses are allowed to reopen at full capacity. It's all happening as cases surge in the UK with 50,000 new cases per day.
More than 180 people are dead and hundreds remain missing in Western Europe after the historic amounts of rain turned to devastating flooding. German Chancellor Angela Merkel is pledging a renewed focus on climate change.
Wildfires continue to scorch parts of the western U.S. More than 1 million acres reduced to ash, mostly in California, where fires have doubled this year compared to the same time last year. Officials say California is on track to have even more fires than 2020, which was the worst on record.
And there's another shortage: foam used in things like furniture, cushions, mattresses, and appliances. It started with the February freeze that knocked out Texas plants that make the main chemical in foam. They are still working to recover.
Toyota, one of the biggest sponsors of the Olympics, is pulling Olympic-themed advertisement on Japanese television. The company says there are too many issues that are hard to explain for this year's games. The Tokyo Olympics begin this Friday, and that's today's 9 at 9. Now we're talking, what's the difference between yuppie, preppy, hipster, all those different, or you could just be you.
Yeah, instead of having the title, but it seems like it's pretty same throughout the years.
It is. 9:02, let's go outside with live cam. And it sounds like that we set that umbrella aside for about a week and might want to pull it back out.
It's time to pull it back out. We're going to have some more chances for rain, especially this evening. That's what I'm watching, because I think we'll get line of storms potentially moving through tonight. Not a lot of severe weather, but we can't rule out a strong storm or two. Here's what rain chances look like. Today, just about a 20% chance, but as we get into this evening, we'll up it to a 60% shot, and then more chances down the line Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, some scattered stuff on Thursday. So potentially another somewhat wet week. 94 degrees today. We'll have those evening storms. Of course, that 94 will feel more like 100 because it is awful humid out there. Temperatures at this hour: 79 at the airport, 80 Randolph, 79 New Braunfels, 83 down there in Devine. Just some partly cloudy skies. And there's a look at the forecast. 20% chance 3 p.m. through 5 p.m. But those rain chances do go up as that line makes its way into the area tonight. We'll talk more about that. How much rain we could receive, too. That's coming up here in just a few minutes, guys.
Thank you, sir. Checking TransGuide right now. If you have to head out the door late or are going to run some errands, there's 410 at San Pedro Avenue near North Star Mall. Traffic looks fairly normal. There's a live look at 410 just down the road at Jackson Keller.
And here's a live look inside the courtroom this morning as week 2 of the trial for Otis McCain begins. McCain is facing the death penalty for the killing of Detective Benjamin Marconi back in 2016.
And the trial is just now about to get back underway. Erica Hernandez is now in court. She is keeping her eyes on every moment. We'll have updates throughout the day. You can also live stream the trial all week through KSAT.com and the KSAT TV app. Other top stories we're following for you today. A drive-by on the west side sends 2 people to the hospital overnight.
Now police are looking for the gunman. It happened in the 200 block of Sorrelville Street near Frio City Road. Police say the 2 men were working on their cars when someone pulled up in a blue sedan and started shooting. One man was hit in the leg, the other in the back. Both were rushed to the hospital. Their conditions are not known. Now, police say the victims' cars and a nearby house were riddled with bullets. So far, no arrests have been made. And taking to Houston now, police there had a busy night after getting in a shootout with a man they say killed 2 people. This all happened late last night at a motel on Houston's northwest side. Houston police got a call from a person they believe was the shooter. The person told police they had weapons or were going to hurt people and shoot police, and that's exactly, or shoot at police, and that's exactly what happened. The suspect killed 2 people on the 2nd floor before police could get to the scene. When they got there, the shooter was locked in his room. He eventually started shooting into the parking lot, and officers fired back, killing the shooter. It's not clear if the shooter died from police gunfire or a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The relationship between the shooter and 2 victims still isn't clear. This investigation is just getting going over there in Houston. And new this morning, an alternate for the women's Olympic team is in self-isolation after testing positive for COVID-19. The news comes just days before the start of the opening ceremonies in Tokyo on Friday. The unnamed Olympian is the first known American athlete to test positive for COVID while in Japan. Another alternate also in quarantine for possible exposure. Officials say the main 6 Olympians will be isolated until the games start. At least 58 other people associated with the Tokyo Olympics have tested positive since July 1st, including 2 players on the South African men's soccer team and a Czech beach volleyball player. In your other morning headlines, a car takes flight in California and a kidnapping caught on camera. Plus, a reason to smile this morning, a parade for the 2021 Spelling Bee champ. Max Massey is here with those stories. Max, good to see you, sir.
Good morning, guys. Happy Monday. We are going to get to the parade, but before that, we have a terrifying story to tell you about. Really, every parent's nightmare. A story out of New York City, the Big Apple, and it was a dangerous one. This one actually coming out of Queens. We want to warn you, if you are watching, you know, it might be tough for some viewers, but keep in mind the child not injured in these circumstances. An attempted kidnapping, all caught on camera. So take a look at this. This was the situation Thursday. And look, someone jumps out of their car, grabs a child, and puts them back in their vehicle. That was a 5-year-old boy while he was walking with his mother and siblings. The police in New York, they're still looking for the man who tried to kidnap the little boy. They already arrested and charged another in the incident. The mom appears to struggle with someone in the passenger seat for being able to grab her son through the window. This whole thing only 15 seconds long. The mother telling investigators she had never even seen the suspect before. And another crazy situation. Talk about something you don't see every day. Look at this. A car flipping over onto another road. All this happening in California. People who witnessed it obviously horrified by the whole circumstance. So surveillance cameras and an equipment shop nearby actually catching the crash on camera. The car banking off the roadway through the air, followed by a massive plume of smoke. We heard from a local in that area. He showed up for work the next morning, not believing his eyes. He watched the entire crash on surveillance camera.
On camera, when we got to review the tape and we got to see the person actually like beating the cars down the freeway. They're probably doing 80 to 100 miles an hour or in like a 25 zone. They came flying straight through here. There's a really hard left-hand turn up here. They failed to make that turn, just kept going straight and literally went flying over the top of that whole overpass.
Obviously a crazy situation. The woman behind the wheel survived, and that's not the only miracle. Basically threading a needle through those power lines. Police say no sign of intoxication with the driver. And get this, not only did she survive, she got away with only minor injuries. All right, now to that story that's going to put a smile on your face to start this Monday morning. We told you about the amazing story of Zayla Avant-Garde, the reigning spelling bell champ. Well, now she gets a parade in her honor at her hometown. Take a look at this. Obviously, Mardi Gras themed because it is Louisiana. 14-year-old making headlines ever since she became the first African-American to win the renowned National Spelling Bee competition. Avant-Garde also the first ever winner from Louisiana, which makes her small community doubly proud. She's hoping to inspire other girls her age to believe in themselves and accomplish great things just like her.
I watched her work for this. I watched her do those 13,000 words a day, listening to her music in her own world. And when it came through, she worked for this, y'all. She wanted it and she worked for it.
She really did. And, you know, there's videos popping up of her practicing the last couple years. The 14-year-old from Harvey, Louisiana. Get this, guys. She is also a basketball prodigy. The coolest thing, she has 3 Guinness World Records for dribbling multiple basketballs simultaneously. She hopes to one day play in the WNBA or even coach in the NBA. She described spelling as a side hobby, even though she routinely practices for 7 hours a day. So, guys, I mean, talk about a jack of all trades.
Can you
That's
imagine
cool.
being her mail carrier these days? Fan letters, college offers, scholarships.
Yes.
I mean, tons of stuff is about to happen for her.
So what her Instagram following, I know we live in a social media based world, her Instagram following like quadrupling just after she won, and then after everyone saw the videos of her dribbling all the balls, the Guinness World Records, and then her basketball highlights of behind the back like Steph Curry stuff, through the roof.
Her journey has just begun.
Yeah, that is awesome. We'll be hearing a lot more from her later on.
All right, thank you, Max. Right now, about 9:10, 79 degrees, still ahead on GMSA at 9.
It's having a real cost that can be measured in lives lost.
Health officials now blaming social media for the increase in COVID cases, saying misinformation about vaccines is fueling fears about getting the shot. How you can determine what's true or not. Coming up.
Dozens still recovering this morning after a chemical leak at a Houston area Six Flags water park. What officials say is behind that dangerous situation.
Hey parents, are your kids prepared to know what to do in case of an accident while on board a school bus? Well, this morning, Southside ISD is taking care of some drills. That way kids like these are prepared. We'll be back just ahead here on GMSA at 9.
And welcome back. It's about 9:14. It may be summertime, but administrators at Southside ISD are making sure their students are prepared before school starts.
In case of an accident or emergency while using district transportation, students will go through emergency bus evacuation drills. Alicia Beretta is live from Gallardo Elementary with more on today's drills. Good morning, Alicia.
Good morning. Well, 250 students have made it out today. They're the smaller, the younger ones, and that's because they are being taught what to do in case of emergency. We never know when it's going to happen. So to speak more about what's happening today, Superintendent for Southside ISD, Mr. Ramirez, good morning. What is exactly the kids, what skills are they learning today?
So good morning. We're practicing the bus evacuation. So it's very important that students know exactly what to do in case of an emergency, whether they exit through the back, through the top hatch, through the window, depending on the emergency. So today, the bus drivers are going over with the students what emergencies might cause for an evacuation and what to do in case of an emergency.
So pretty basic with the exit door. Right now, they're going through different things, but I want to ask you, in case they would have to exit through that back door, what would be the proper way? Do they jump out?
No, ma'am. They sit and scoot, and that's what we're practicing today. For all students, they sit down and then they scoot, and we will have the bus driver there in the exit assisting the students as they exit the bus.
So today it's for the younger students, about 250 of them, but this isn't the end of it. You tell me that all students for Southside ISD are going to have the opportunity to do this.
That's correct. Right now we have 2 summer school campuses. Tomorrow we'll be doing it at the middle school. During the year we'll be doing it the first 9-week grading period. All students will do this practice. That's part of our safety measures that we're doing for this school year to include fire drills, lockdown, and bus evacuations.
Mr. Ramirez, thank you so much. So there you heard it from Superintendent of Southside ISD. The kids will be here for a few minutes. One already finished their drills. In the next half hour, we'll be back with more information on this. Reporting live, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Thanks, Alicia. The Comal Independent School District is hosting several job fairs this week. It's focused on skilled trades. The district specifically looking for mechanics, electricians, custodians, bus drivers, and after-school child care aides. Here's a list of where the fairs are happening each day from 9 to noon. Wednesday, August 4th, the district will host a job fair for all open positions, including teachers and other staff. You can find more information on that at comalisd.org.
And here in San Antonio, a number of local school districts are hiring. They are looking for skills and trades as well, from teachers to custodial workers. We have the full list with dates and times posted in the back to school section of our website at ksat.com.
Well, if you weren't listening earlier, Justin is talking about a chance of showers and storms back in the forecast.
Believe it or not, here we go again. More downpours potentially, and there's a frontal boundary in July. This is just getting weird, right? This front's probably not going to move all the way through and cool us down a lot, but it will bring some rain with it. So let's look at the setup. There is our front. It's up across North Texas. You see some showers and storms already up there this morning along that boundary. And this will shift south today. Out ahead of it, we should get some more storms developing across the whole country this afternoon, and then those will slide down into the area this evening and tonight. And I think that's our next best rain chance. Looking at the satellite and radar, you can see where the action is now. And we are seeing some development just north of Gillespie County there. And some of that may work south, although it's dying down. I think the real action again comes this afternoon and then later this evening. At the moment, we're just looking at partly cloudy skies here in San Antonio. Temperatures already on their way up. It is going to be a warm day. I'll caution you there. Temperatures right now at 79. Southwesterly winds at about 9 miles per hour. I think we'll easily get up into the low to even mid-90s today. 81 Helotes, 77 Bernie Stage, 78 Rio Medina, 80 New Braunfels, 79 Gonzales, and 79 right now in Uvalde. Here's a look at the dew points. And today, dew points are going to be fairly high. Tomorrow they should drop off a little bit, and that's because we're going to see some of the effects of that frontal boundary, at least wind shift, with some of those storms overnight. And then dew points will stay high throughout the rest of the week. Forecast heat index today, when you factor in that heat and humidity, this is what you get. Feels like 98 potentially by this afternoon here in San Antonio, and I think there will be several spots where that heat index gets up close to 100. So be careful. Here's the forecast. And we're trying to time this out. This is around 6 o'clock. We start to see some of these storms developing here at LaGrange, probably north of I-10 and north of Highway 90. I think a few of these could be strong. We're not looking for severe weather, or at least a high risk of severe weather today, but a few of them could be strong, certainly with the heating that we have going on. And then by 8, 9 o'clock, we're seeing some of this move in around San Antonio and then pushing south. And this will go through much of the night into early tomorrow morning. A lot of that activity is starting to push south of San Antonio. On Tuesday, I still think we get some isolated showers and storms, but the bulk of the action will probably stay south of our area. This model, though, does produce some of those isolated downpours. So range in the forecast. It'll be a little bit cooler on Tuesday as well with some cloud cover. Highs today, as I mentioned, in the low to mid 90s. Rain chances kick up as we get into the afternoon, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, and by 8, 9 o'clock, we're talking about a 60% chance of rain. Further in time here, we're also going to get an area of low pressure that develops. This helps bring more rain chances to the forecast. And what we're looking at here is atmospheric moisture. Where you see the blue color, that's dry air, oranges and reds, that's more moist air. And as we get into Thursday, this low moves across Texas and starts to draw in deeper moisture. So our rain chances kick back up on Thursday before falling by the weekend. So here's how it plays out in the 7-day forecast. 60% chance this evening, 90 tomorrow, 30% chance of isolated showers and storms, 30% chance Wednesday. Then we kick it back up to a 40% chance on Thursday, another slight chance Friday, and then things, as I mentioned, dry out by the weekend. And we're back in the low 90s, guys.
We will prepare for the rain.
Yep.
Thank you, Justin.
Got it.
920, about 80 degrees.
And still ahead on
I thought it was a terrorist attack. It felt like we got gassed.
It was supposed to be a fun trip to the water park, but for dozens it turned into a complete nightmare. What authorities say happened after the break.
Questions remain unanswered this morning after dozens of people looking for a cool spot to spend their weekend found themselves in a hospital room instead. A dangerous chemical situation unfolding at Six Flags Water Park outside of Houston shut down that park for hours.
A 3-year-old was among the worst, taken to the hospital in bad condition. Officials believe a strong chlorine gas may be to blame, but how it got to such dangerous levels remains unknown. Bill Barajas with our sister station KPRC has the latest.
There was a mandatory evacuation along with a decontamination zone. Folks lining up to be sprayed down. 31 people were rushed to the hospital, including Stephen Morris, who had returned to the park in his scrubs along with his 9-year-old daughter, Leah.
I thought it was a terrorist attack. It felt like we got gassed.
Morris says he knew something was wrong when Leah began crying and vomiting. Doctors and nurses telling Leah her oxygen levels were low.
I just started coughing, and then my eyes swollen up.
Emergency responders from several agencies rushed to the scene and families were ushered out.
In the area around the kiddie pool in this water park, a lifeguard was sick, and soon after that, more and more people began becoming sick. Children were walking out of the pool with respiratory issues.
The Harris County Fire Marshal's office believes the chemicals involved are bleach and 35% sulfuric acid. Morris has questions.
And I want to know, how did it happen?
County Judge Lena Hidalgo says they are working on it.
They took samples of the water and they took samples of the air to try to see what it was that was causing this issue. Every sample that they took was within the acceptable limits. But obviously we had evidence from these folks being sick that something was wrong.
And again, that was Bill Barajas reporting.
From our sister station over in Houston, KPRC. There's more ahead on GMSA at 9.
It's a Goose story you didn't know you needed, an example of what in sickness and in health truly means later in the show.
And look at what's up on KSAT.com right now.
And a quick check of the roads with TransSky, looking at Loop 410 and Jackson Keller. Things are moving right now. And welcome back. It's about 9:30. COVID case counts are on the rise nationwide. Officials are calling it a pandemic of the unvaccinated. But is misinformation about the vaccine to blame for a decline in vaccinations?
Last week, President Biden said social media is, quote unquote, killing people, referring to misinformation he says is being spread about vaccines and COVID-19. As Britt Conway reports, battling that misinformation has, for some, become a battle in itself.
We have a life-saving vaccine that can put this pandemic in the rearview mirror.
And yet, the CDC shows the vaccination rate has slowed drastically, even though fewer than 57% of people 12 and up are fully vaccinated. And cases are going up in nearly every state as the Delta variant spreads across the country. Health experts say misinformation and myths about the vaccines are also spreading through some areas of the country.
It's having a real cost that can be measured in lives lost.
We have to get the information out there that it is safe and effective, that I'd rather have the vaccine than the virus, and that we need people to get the vaccine.
But the best way to battle misinformation depends on who you ask. The White House has called out social media, specifically Facebook, as a breeding ground for false information. Facebook is pushing back and getting some support.
We can't be dictating to these platforms what is misinformation and what is not misinformation.
There are those who blame fellow politicians for vaccine hesitancy.
I would rather see us Fauci or Florida than have people go through death by DeSantis.
And politicians who say doctors, nurses, and community leaders need to step up grassroots efforts.
We know that this is going to be a person by person, shot by shot, conversation by conversation situation from now to the end.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
We have some breaking news from Wall Street right now, and this is the worst decline of the year for the Dow Jones Industrial Average on the New York Stock Exchange. Right now, the Dow is now down over 800 points. The main concern, a rebound in COVID cases that could slow global economic growth. We're going to keep an eye on this very volatile day on Wall Street coming up in our later newscasts.
And for now, taking a look outside with live cam, those temperatures slowly climbing, but we are expecting some rain this week.
We are, and in fact, as soon as this evening, I think we'll see some showers and storms on the radar. Nothing right now, just some partly cloudy skies out there. Let's look at the headlines for today. Hot and humid. Heat index values could get up close to 100. We'll start to see some isolated storms this afternoon. Better chances come this evening. Scattered storms, some good downpours, and there could even be a couple of strong storms mixed in there, although we're not looking for high risk of severe weather today. Isolated afternoon downpours again tomorrow, too. We're in a decent pattern here for some rain, and rain chances are in the forecast each and every day this week. Looking at temperatures right now, 81 Randolph, 82 Stinson, 89 already in Devine, 76 Lost Maples, and 79 out in Uvalde. Pollen count is in, molds are low, pigweed is low. That dust has cleared out some too, so good looking pollen count today, although you can expect mold may jump back up if we do get some rain in the coming days. Forecast, 92 by 3 o'clock, 94 your high temperature, 30% chance of rain during the afternoon, 60% chance during the evening hours with some of those showers and storms. A little drier tomorrow in the sense that the humidity levels will be a little bit lower. We'll have more on the forecast and how long those rain chances will stick around coming up here in just a few minutes, guys.
And taking a look out at TransGuide this morning, here's a look at I-10 and Frio. Things are moving, so that's good news.
Parents, would your child know what to do in case of an accident on board a school bus?
Southside ISD officials say they are being proactive this morning by hosting emergency evaluation drills for students. Alicia Barrera is live from Gallardo Elementary with more on today's drills. Good morning, Alicia.
Good morning. So we talked about it earlier, about 250 students starting today with their drills, knowing exactly what to do in case of an accident. So for these students, the ones who are doing these drills, it's mostly those who aren't on a bus every day, right? So you're talking about field trips or special occasions, but you see them right now lined up. Right now, they're going to be practicing exiting through the back of the bus. To speak more on this, we have Mr. Henry Isaguirre, Executive Director of Operations here at Southside. Why is it so important for administrators to host this? Because not all districts do it. And years ago, I remember in my day, we definitely didn't do this.
Well, you know, here at Southside ISD, we stress safety to all our students. And I think it's very important for us to make our students aware so that when they are on the bus, they know what to do in case of an emergency.
And this bus that we were on particularly, one of our producers made a note, hey, those have seat belts. So what can you state about that? Those are for the little ones, the seat belts?
Seat belts are recommended for all students. The state is coming out with some mandates now that all buses need to be require seat belts. So we encourage our students to use the seat belts when equipped.
With the exit strategy, what do we see here? They're making sure that they don't just jump out. We spoke about it, touched on it earlier. What's that strategy that they use to make sure that they're safe?
Yeah, so that we try to get our students to help the other students who are unable to get off the bus, and we ask them to help the next passenger to get off safely.
Very well. And then what you see here, they ask them to hold on to the fist, and they're not lifting them up. They're just helping them come down carefully. And then after that, they do like a soft jump outwards. And then after that, the next step is to have a designated meeting point. And then you can see to the right, the students, that's where they'll start to gather. What's next for the district? Are y'all going to be hosting this for different grade levels?
Yes, we'll be doing it for all grade levels, and we'll be doing it district-wide at all campuses.
Thank you so much. So again, Southside ISD hosting these safety evacuation drills for the kids. That way they make sure they're safe in case of an emergency. Reporting from Southside ISD, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
And it's great to think ahead. They'll be prepared.
Yes.
Just in case.
Yes.
Alicia, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, you can see the students helping each other, and that's good. I don't remember doing a drill like that when I was in school. So
no, I mean, we all remember fire drills,
yes,
but not bus drills.
Not this.
Smart. 9:36, about 81 degrees.
And you're watching GMSA at 9. New parking rules at the Pearl are causing some confusion, and a popular paperclip is making a bouncing return. Those are some of the stories on KSAT.com right now. A closer look with Max next. And welcome back. It's about 9:40 now. If you haven't been on KSAT.com this morning, there's a lot to read up on, and ranging from big news out of this world to changes you need to know about the Pearl.
That's right. And Max Massey is the only other person here at the station today, and he's back with more on this. Let's begin with the box office. Max.
Guys, it is an honor to join you. They let me stay in-house, talk to you guys all morning.
Yes.
So yes, we are starting at the theater. It is news that is out of this world because LeBron James, Bugs Bunny, the whole squad dunking on the box office this weekend. Space Jam, A New Legacy, defied expectations, won the box office and won big this weekend. According to studio estimates, Sunday, Space Jam, New Legacy, grossed $31.7 million in North America, while Black Widow, the Marvel movie, took in $26.3 million. So Space Jam, A New Legacy, remember the name, largest pandemic opening for Warner Brothers since pandemic, which is significant because the studio in 2021 releasing all of their films both in theaters and on HBO Max. Also, the largest domestic opening for a family film since the start of the pandemic. Warner Brothers says 32% of the audience under the age of 18, which, you do the math, that means 68% were over the age of 18. Most of the major family films that have come out during the pandemic, obviously, have done worse than this because this is the record. So if you want to break down the numbers, go to KSAT.com. Have you guys seen it? Do you plan to see it?
I saw it.
She saw it. I saw last weekend's box office winner, Black Widow. So I haven't caught this. And Rooney, your daughter said,
yeah, 2 thumbs up.
Right.
Yeah, she liked it.
Some people have said LeBron, of course, is no Michael Jordan.
Well,
but
he was good, though.
What's that?
Say yeah, but what about the movie?
Exactly. Exactly. The follow-up question.
Yeah, no, it was good. He did well, I thought.
So I'm a little apprehensive to see it because, I have this nostalgia for the original Space Jam, and it's like I don't want to ruin that.
It's different. I mean, it's different, so you should see it.
All right, well, maybe. All right, next up, we are bringing back the classics. Classic Clippy, that is. Some would say, I would say, Stephen Cavazos would agree, he is the OG emoji, and he won't be the same beloved virtual assistant we had in the past, but he will replace the paperclip emoji in Microsoft 365. Do you remember this guy on your screen? Smiley little paperclip that would accompany you through all the projects on Microsoft Word back in 1997. To refresh the memory, you had the little eyebrows, big eyes, entertaining little quirks that would make you smile, even during some of those most tedious class projects. If you do remember Clippy, then we've got some pretty good news for you. The beloved virtual paperclip, he is coming back by Microsoft, though he won't be a virtual assistant again. The company announced in a Twitter post last week, Clippy would replace the paperclip emoji in Microsoft 365 if they got 20,000 likes. But guys, they got 170,000 likes. So Microsoft confirming the upcoming change on social media. I know Clippy, an integral part of my procrastination with all of my papers. What about you guys? You remember Clippy?
Absolutely. I found him a little annoying, but I think he'll be more useful as an emoji.
Yeah, I like that he's coming back.
So, we use Teams here. So get ready. Everything you guys post, Clippy's coming.
Clippy too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, agreed.
I'll be ready.
Clippy,
I'll be ready.
Clippy. Got
Justin's already checking. He's like, did he do it yet? Last not least, have you all been to the Pearl recently?
Yes.
Not lately, but I know there's been some parking changes.
There are some parking changes. Our Pearl expert, Stephanie, was explaining it to us earlier. Yes. So there are some big changes, some prices that you need to know about for the Pearl's more than 3,000 parking spots. The Pearl in the process of completing its parking transformation, which will update the parking lot under 281 into a paid parking lot, remove the lot in front of what was formerly the Full Goods building, and close off Carn Street to vehicle traffic. 65 parking spots in the stable lot converted to premium spots last November. There will still be free parking available, and certain lots outside of the Pearl, the Oxbow and the Credit Human building, that new building right on Broadway, some of the newer installations at the Pearl, they have parking garages, 900 spaces for parking that are free on weekends and nights. Guys, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, it's probably inconvenient for people who don't go to the Pearl often and like, oh, I can't park here. I can't, if they don't want to pay that parking fee. And if you're just going to go run in and out and do something real quick, that's kind of like, it's like $8. But the reason I know so much about it is that Downtown Run Group meets at the Pearl parking lot, and so the organizers they are paying for a spot to park at the same spot every Saturday morning. And then some of the runners are, donating, money, but everybody else is parking. The free ones are the back parking lot across the river from Hotel Emma.
Insider info over here.
Yeah, the parking garage, at least weekend mornings, and also a portion of the one under 281, but it's by the restaurant Best Quality Daughter.
Okay.
So for more information, go to SCERNA. at KSAT.com.
No, and I'm glad that we have this article up because it was a rude awakening a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I went and they were like, $8. Whoa.
Yeah, it's going to surprise quite a few folks, the changes.
So shameless plug, KSAT.com. We have all the info you need to know.
We do. Thank you, Mr. Massey.
Yes, thanks so much.
Justin is back, and he's got an eye on radar, and it sounds like things are going to get quite a bit more active by later this afternoon.
They should. I think this afternoon in the Hill Country and then this evening, guys, here across the San Antonio area, we should see some showers and storms as a boundary works through. Let's look at the radar right now. We've got some showers along the coast. These are moving basically away from us, I think along the coast, kind of parallel to the coast. We could see a few showers work a little bit further inland, but not expecting really much here in San Antonio through the afternoon. Our eyes will be to the north, where we see some of these showers and storms that have already developed around Dallas-Fort Worth and working their way towards Waco. Some activity northwest of Abilene as well. That's along a frontal boundary that is shifting south. Now, this front may not make it all the way through. In fact, it may fall apart before it gets here, but it will help to push some showers and storms. And with some outflow boundaries, we should get that activity working through again later this evening. That's the timing, but you can see the difference that this frontal boundary is making. Highs today in the parts of North Texas in the 80s. That's it. That's fantastic for this time of year. Now, we will still be toasty down here. 90s heat index values in the mid to upper 90s. Del Rio, feel like 101 today when you factor in the humidity. Outside, pretty nice right now. 81 degrees at the airport, 82 Stinson, 82 Kelly, 81 Randolph, and south-southwesterly winds at about 8 miles per hour. Satellite picture shows our morning clouds are really dissipating pretty quickly here, so there is quite a bit of sun, and that's why temperatures will ramp up pretty quickly. 81 again at the airport, 81 Randolph, 78 in Seguin, 80 at Hondo, and 82 down there in Cotulla, 83 Victoria with some clouds working in from the coast there. Dew points are high, mid-70s. That's going to contribute to the heat index today. It'll be sticky. I think the heat index could go as high as 98 here in San Antonio. We could be talking some triple digits down to the south for that feels like temperature. But it should be a one-day thing because once we get these storms through tonight, it'll kind of cool everybody off. And we'll see that for the next couple of days. Here's what the forecast looks like. By 6 o'clock, we're starting to see some of these storms develop, I'd say, along I-10 and to the north, along Highway 90 and to the north. By 7, 8, 9 o'clock, here they come into San Antonio, and then they'll be with us through the night and then pushing south by tomorrow morning. And then by tomorrow afternoon, with the north flow, we should still get some more isolated showers and storms and some downpours, although I think the best chance tomorrow will be down to our south. Forecast for today, up around 94. We'll call for a 30% chance of rain around 5 o'clock, and then it ramps up from there with a 60% chance of rain by, say, 9, 10 o'clock. Talking about rainfall potential over the next 5 days through Friday, potentially 1 to 2 inches in spots. We could see some higher amounts, so there could be more good downpours around and more welcome rain here in South Texas. 90 tomorrow, 30% chance rain after our 60% chance this evening. 30% chance Wednesday, and then we up rain chances on Thursday as an upper level low moves nearby. 87, 40% chance. Still some chances Friday before things dry out by the weekend, but be prepared for some more showers and storms over the next 4 or 5 days, guys.
We will be prepared. At least we'll see some 80s.
Yep.
Thank you, Justin. So our weather authority is full of knowledge and giving us the forecast like Justin just did. Isn't it as easy as it looks?
In their latest project, Katie Blake and Sarah Spivey break down exactly what it takes to be a meteorologist, from education and graphics to makeup and early wake-up calls.
So here's a preview of season 2 of their podcast, Whatever the Weather.
Question we get often is, what do you study in school? Like, how do you become a meteorologist? Do you just study how to stand in front of a green screen and smile and point and wave and read a prompter? No. No. It is a lot more in depth than that.
Okay, I'll wrap it up. See, this is why we have a script now, so I don't just talk and talk.
The atmosphere is so complex that we have to turn it into a math equation so that we can see what's next, but it's not simple math.
The graphics that we use, one by a company, the Weather Company.
Really great name there.
I like it. It's straightforward to the point.
If we were just to put data on television, that would be hecka boring, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. You can, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever the weather.
I know their fans will be happy to see it come back because it went away for a little while. They were doing this, I think it was in 2018, Justin?
It's good stuff, though.
Yeah.
And a little backstory, if you don't know this, Katie and Sarah, I believe, applied for the same job. And both nailed it. And the way the story goes is we loved them so much, I think we tried to bring them both on, and here we are. All these years later, both great meteorologists as part of our Weather Authority team.
Yeah, it's a great part of they are a great part of our KSAT team.
Indeed.
And it's the love story we didn't know we needed. It's a mated pair of wild geese couldn't stand to be separated after an injury left one of the animals in need of medical care.
CNN's Jeannie Mose has the story of the goose couple who are a true example of in sickness and in health.
They always say geese mate for life, but these two mated through sickness and health.
This was the first time we ever had an animal come to visit one of our patients.
Staff at the New England Wildlife Center on Cape Cod noticed one of a pair of wild geese that live nearby limping and falling over. They discovered 2 fractures on his foot requiring surgery. But as they prepared to sedate the goose they named Arnold,
we heard sort of a faint tapping at the clinic door. And we turned around and we're all pretty shocked to see that his mate had waddled up onto the porch and was, kind of furiously trying to get into the clinic.
Don't worry, he's in good hands.
Under the watchful eye of Arnold's mate, the surgery began to repair the damage possibly caused by a snapping turtle.
I kid you not, she stood there the entire time and actually could watch the procedure going on. Was really watching him like a hawk, or like a goose, I guess.
45 minutes later, the surgery complete. They moved Arnold right in front of the doors. They gave him oxygen. And when Arnold fully woke up, his mate began grooming him. They had to amputate a digit, but Arnold should be able to live normally in a few weeks. Meanwhile, his mate comes and goes, using the clinic lawn as a hospital cafeteria, and even picking at Arnold's meals. Ain't love grand, wrote one commenter, and they lived happily ever after, posted another. Talk about a love story. This one's worth honking about. Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
There's a Ryan Gosling joke in there somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure.
We're going to let it be. 9:52, about 82 degrees.
And if you used sunscreen and still got burned, there could be a reason it might be expired. We're going to break it all down next.
Did you know the FDA requires sunscreens be good for roughly 3 years?
Yeah.
But how do you know when it's expired?
You better check those expiration dates, just like you do like on food labels.
Right, so it's usually on the packaging, but if not, it's on the container itself. You just have to look for it.
That's right. So usually they say that the sunscreens can expect to find expiration dates labels printed right on the product's packaging, usually on the back.
Yep, just look on that little ribbon part, the part that's crimped, you know what I mean? I'll just show you tomorrow.